welcome to AFK Sidequest. I'm your host, Rob Fersland. Joining me today is Special Agent Luke Chu and Special Agent Maddie Cunningham. Hang on a second, you're not Maddie Cunningham.
I'm a spy, and guess what? This week, I'm bringing Spyfall.
Well, I see you and I raise you Spyfall 2.
Spyfall is basically a game where you all get thrust in one location. Everyone knows the location except the spy. The spy's job is to try and figure out what the location is, and everyone else's job is to try and figure out who the spy is. Problem is, no one knows who is who. So you've got to ask kind of vague questions, but also slightly on point enough that you're kind of giving away that you know the location. For example, the jungle. If I gave the cards out and say Luke's the spy, me and you, we know we're in the jungle, but I don't know that you know that you're in the jungle. You could be the spy.
But how do I know that you know that he knows that he's in the jungle?
I've got to try and tease out of you which one of you might be the spy, but not give away that we're in the jungle.
Okay, so really this is a game of bluffing.
This is a game all about bluffing. However, you've only got 8 minutes to figure out who's who.
Shit.
So, you start the clock. You start asking questions going from your right. At any point, if you think someone's the spy, you stop the clock and you say, I think you're the fucking spy. At which point, everyone has a chance to decide. It has to be unanimous. If
It has to be unanimous.
Has to be unanimous. So basically majority. So if you could just convince one person that you're not the spy, game continues. However, someone else can still nominate you. So if Luke then decides 5 minutes later, wait a minute.
You're the fucking spy.
We stop the clock and we do it again. During the 8 minutes, the spy has to try and work out what the location is. They also take part in the question game. However, they've got no damn clue where the location is. So they're picking up on everyone else. At any point, if the spy thinks they've guessed the location, they can stop the timer and try and guess the location. However, if they get it wrong, then everyone else gets the point, exactly. If we get to the end of the 8 minutes and no one has come forward as the spy, so the spy hasn't guessed the location, and we haven't figured out who the spy is, it goes into sudden death. The spy can no longer try and figure out what the location is, and we basically start from the dealer and go round.
Okay.
If we get round a full circle, and the spy hasn't been discovered, the spy wins.
Oh, so they escape and they win in that stuff.
They can escape. They've got 2 ways of escaping. Now, points. If I nominate you and you're the spy, I get 2 points. If Luke agrees with me, and we've nominated you to be the spy and you turn out to be the spy, Luke gets only 1 point.
Right.
Well, that's not fair.
The spy, however, if you get away, gets 4 points.
So it's harder being the spy, but you got more reward for it.
Exactly.
Right, it's completely random who the spy is.
Oh yeah, it's completely random every time.
So it's not just Rob.
It's not
Even though it probably is going to be Rob.
It's always going to be Rob. Yeah. I mean, if it was Maddie would probably be the spy, but she isn't here this week, so we've got to find the next person. So what's the difference on Spyfall 2 then?
Okay, so Spyfall 2 had a number of extra locations and changed the player count. Yours is a maximum of 8, this is a maximum of 12, and it also adds a second spy. The second spy meaning that in a larger game, you're not just looking for one person, you're looking for 2. If you catch any one of the spies, then both the spies lose and all of the secret agents win, and vice versa. You share that loss or win with the rest of your
so
team.
you've got a homie to help you in your time in need.
Yeah, you do.
Right.
The only other thing that changes, if you have 2 spies in the game, you do not need a unanimous vote. Because obviously, that's an easy game to think.
My comrade is not, is not a bad guy. I mean, look at him, he's great.
This is getting ridiculous.
Like we won the game.
Yeah.
Nobody makes me like a fool on my own show.
I mean, we both won, but doesn't that mean we technically both lost?
You beat each other and you also lost to each other.
You know what? He lost, so I'm okay.
Yeah, he lost.
Yeah,
he definitely lost.
I'm happy to be king loser.
How did you guys find Spyfall then?
As always, it was really, really great fun. I'm just awful at it.
What is it? Is it you can't, bluffing games aren't for you then?
Well, I have had, in this game, I keep on getting fucked up by other people. Like, I had the right guesses several times, and then other people let me down.
If you didn't act so shifty,
that's
then
the
no
game!
one let you down. That's not the game.
You were so fucking obvious with some of your answers. Like, the idea that the spy didn't catch you is incredible.
As the spy about the majority of the time, remember, well, I guess we had the same
You're back and
spy
forth, which is why we won.
It's incredibly gratifying to get towards the end of the game, because you know when people, like, if people are like, I think it's Bradley, you're like, oh, that's it, jig's up, he's gonna be able to convince everyone. But when someone goes, I think it's Rob, you're like, yes.
Yeah, I kind of saved it for you.
Yeah, so happy. So when it got to that
I've never met this man before this adventure.
No, every bad experience I've had with Spyfall has been because of somebody else. So if we could cut the other player element out of it, this would be great.
So if it was just you on your own going, I'm in a zoo.
Yeah.
This is great.
So you think this should be better as a single-player game?
Yes.
Okay.
No. My issue with it is obviously it wouldn't have worked in the game that we played because we were a 4. There is no way of having an exact majority. I hate the fact that it has to be unanimous votes. I hate the fact that there will always be that one person who is like, oh, I don't think it's that, shoots you down. You don't get to choose again, you've lost the points, and then the spy goes on to win.
See, for me, I love the frustration part of that. I love that kind of just... Because sometimes as well, when you're the spy, and someone, like, you're just trying to, like, egg it on a little bit.
It makes it really sweet of a moment where you all decide to vote someone else, and it's you, and it's like, I'll carry on with it.
Yeah.
And then when all the thumbs go up, and then you're just like, you've just accused the wrong person.
Yeah.
I'm going to make an accusation. I'm going to accuse Rob. These guys, the answers you're giving are pretty solid.
On the
That toilet flush.
Yeah.
We're in the toilet.
It's a toilet flush. That's what it is.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll go say Rob. I'll
I'll be right at one point.
I'll back you up.
3, 2, 1.
You are all wrong. My guess was going to be Luke.
Motherfucker.
My guess was going to be Luke.
Guys.
I find this game works the best with 4 to 5 players. I'm not quite sure about Spyfall 2 in terms of, because I know you
'cause
can
you've
go
got
up
the
to 12,
2 spies as well.
And obviously the 2 spies can make it a bit different because there's like twice the odds of being able to capture people. I think 4 to 5 people is the sweet spot. When you get to 8 people, 8 minutes isn't enough.
No, I know what you
That's the
mean.
biggest issue I've got with this game. Like, I almost feel like it's 8 minutes with 4 to 5 people, and then when you get to 8 people, or maybe 12 players, I think you should get 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Because so much of it is, it's, even when you know the location, it's like, I've got to try and think, what gives it away that I know the location without giving
being
the
too
location
obvious.
away? That's the problem.
It's harder for new players as well, because
Yeah.
when we played it in a big group of people, and some of them were new to the game, so they were trying to think of questions to ask, because obviously we played it a few times.
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
the general questions to ask, like, do you enjoy being here? What's your role here? Stuff we've worked with before. So you do need a few games in order to get there.
Yeah,
especially for like new players.
Yeah, but that's why I fell in love with this game so much. Like, for me, it's the kind of game, yeah, it's supposed to only be 5 rounds, but I think there have been some times where you can just play this for a whole evening.
Oh, yeah, you can
because
just
really
go.
the points is arbitrary. Just like you could play a whole
And
game.
you get into some wonderful conversations of why something is not right, or what happens in this
Like,
situation.
I also think that the frustration from a bad answer is one of the best things to actually win.
Yeah.
Like, when we had the carnival escapade, I think everybody at the table was like head in their hands, like, what the fuck have we done?
That's the other complaint I have with this, in the fact that there is only one of these.
Yeah.
So if you're the spy and it's like over there and you're like, what the fuck's the location? You're sort of like really obviously like looking over.
What could it be?
So I think a version, with the 2 ways we do it is everyone takes a photo of it on their phone at the beginning, and you then have that on your person the entire game, or when you ask your question,
You
you're
have
given
it in front
and you
of
kind of
you.
get a chance to have a look at it.
Yeah.
And then if I asked you, I would probably hand it over to
Yeah,
you.
you
You
after.
still have to be sly when you're looking at it, though, because
Yeah,
it's
'cause
kind
you
of
can't be like,
okay.
Well, I think you can easily start that off, because there were no number of times where I was looking at that to think, how could I try and catch this person out?
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, there are similarities between each of them, and it can work from there. My favourite is there are people who guess something which isn't a location. Maddie was perfect for this, in that she kept on guessing prison as one of the answers. Prison didn't exist in Spyfall 1, they added it in Spyfall 2.
It's all
Maddie.
It's
Presumably
jail.
after the 100th letter she says to them, and prison! I keep losing!
Dear Alexander Ushan, it has been 14 days since my last letter. I hope this finds you well.
I think it is important to play as your character, because there's like almost
Yeah.
early day role playing for people like maybe starting their way in that. I think the first few times I ever played this, everyone's asking vaguely, so no one.
Yeah,
if you were
it's
the spy, you
impossible.
had no idea what was
Yeah,
going on.
you think that you got the wrong cards mixed up. It was
It's
like,
like,
who is this one?
What are you doing
anyways?
here?
Yeah.
Working. What time is it? Noon.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Good.
Yeah.
And then the spy's like, oh fucking hell.
When you've got to answer it as your character, you might have to give the game away because you're like, well, I'm a journalist, so I've got to say I speak. You know, when someone specifically asks you how many languages do you speak, you're a journalist. You've got to have. You would have to.
Yeah,
have
you would have
multiple
multiple
answers.
languages.
Yeah.
But you could also be in the same area, but your character would change the way you'd answer it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a director of a film studio would answer differently to just the runner.
Yeah.
And it would be something like that. So you're still in the same area, but it gives people flexibility in their answer.
Yeah, and it kind of points you towards how you should be answering. Other optional rules, we use this little chap, the AFK clock. This wonderful guy allows us to keep track of time.
I think it's probably better to use that than use a phone.
Oh,
The
yeah.
problem with a phone is it like locks and then you're like, stop the clock, because time's so precious. Those 10 seconds you're fanning around trying to unlock your phone. Whereas with that, you just go boom and then
That doesn't
the
come
game's
with
on.
it, no.
That's
our own
That's
clock.
our own clock that we found. So is there anything that I guess that we didn't like about the first Spyfall that they fixed in the sequel?
Gender equality.
There's a woman.
There's a woman in there.
Woman spy in this
yeah,
one.
you're right.
The locations in Spyfall 2, I think, are even more tenuous. Like, the ones in there are a couple of weird ones. Like the Crusader Army is a prime example. This one has got things like a cat show.
Ooh, okay.
Like,
I like
that's a really difficult thing to...
That's the best bit. This space station, crusading army. Like, the weird ones is the one that
Yeah,
we
they're
don't
the
get.
fun
You're like,
ones.
how the fuck am I supposed to get that? Like, that's the bit that makes those games.
But I also think
super
in
fun.
the ones of those, when you give pointed hints, that's when you're most likely to give it away. And also one thing I think was a little bit of a kick, really, almost like a fuck you, is that they even put in the book, this has the second spy for Spyfall 2. If you want additional spies for Spyfall 1, you will need to buy another copy.
Here's the thing, Rob. I could just add 2 spies into the first version by just getting a new pack, open it up.
We've already discussed how
and
difficult
now I've
it
got
is.
2 spies.
We've discussed
I
how
don't have to
difficult-
buy the sequel.
We've already discussed
I've
how
saved your
difficult it
money.
is. It's like, I can't think of a way of actually dealing with this, but it's the issue that you have
I
to
just
deal out.
can't deal with
No,
this
I
right
just-
now.
no.
Please get it out of here.
Too much.
In price-wise, this is £22 now at the moment. It's
And I
been out
got
for a
that
few years.
for 25, a little bit more.
And
which
is there more locations, same locations?
less locations,
Less
but
locations.
technically more cards because obviously it is a maximum of 12 per location. Yours
Yeah.
is a maximum of 8.
Almost sounds more like an expansion
I
than
do
a
agree.
sequel.
I do agree. I would have put that as an expansion rather than its own base game. To put the 2 on the end of it maybe is a little bit of a...
How many versions of this now? Because there's 1, there's 2. I saw there's a DC version where
Seriously?
you've got like DC locations. And you've got, I think the Joker is like the spy.
I guess it's
Yeah.
kind of fun because also it's a different way to play it. Like if you know the DC world,
You can answer in
play
comic
around,
books, you can
yeah.
answer in your characters.
Yeah.
So that does, even though the cards essentially is a reskin, I guess you can have more fun knowing the DC universe a bit more.
You can like really geek out on it. Well, from a fellow winner to another, it's been a good game.
Oh no.
Nope.
What have we done?
So from me, Luke and Bradley, thank you very much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the review. Please make sure to like, share and subscribe for more. If you are a spy, make sure you're not as bad as we are.
Crumble,
We will stand tall, face it all.
Kill me.